What is going on, guys? So today I'm going to be covering the basics on how military leave actually works. Alright, so this video is going to be geared towards those of you who don't really know that much about the military itself, because some of this stuff you are probably already going to know. But in general, I'm going to talk to you about essentially how military leave works and also how that's different from the civilian side, because some people may think, oh, when the recruiter says, oh, I get 30 days off a year, that you can take those 30 days whenever you want. So I'm going to cover a few different things and how that is not true. So first things first, how much leave do you get? How is that accrued? How do you actually earn that time off? So if you didn't know, you are going to earn about 2.5 days of leave every single month starting on October 1st. That is the regular normal fiscal year. And then also, if you accumulate over 60 days of leave in a year, you can't roll it over anymore. So let's say you go like 2 years, you get 30 days a year. So let's say you go 2 years without ever taking any leave, no time off whatsoever, you never take any time off. Well, you can't take any more leave beyond that. You're not going to keep accumulating and going, oh, I'm going to have 62.5 days of time off. I'm going to just keep saving it up. 60 days is the limit unless you're in like a combat zone. I believe there's some exceptions to that. If you're deployed for a really long time in a combat zone, you can kind of go over that limit. But for 99% of you, 60 days is the most time that you can actually have saved up, and you are going to accrue that at 2.5 days a month. So for all intents and purposes, that's all you need to know about how you're going to accrue this. Now, how are you going to actually use your time off? How are you going to be like, oh, I got 12 days saved up, I want to use this? How is that actual process going to work? Because it is not like the civilian side. So for your civilian employer, if you have a normal job, you have to give us a notice ahead of time on, hey, you're going to be taking this vacation or whatever, and if you don't, then you're not going to get paid for that time off. There are going to be a whole bunch of all kinds of different civilian rules that you have to abide by, but for the most part, you should get that time off. If you request something 2 months in advance, you're going to get that time off. That's not the case in the military. And so some people may think, you just again hear recruiters be like, oh, you get 30 days of time off, you can use it whenever you want. Again, that's not true. You cannot actually use that leave whenever you want, because your unit's needs are going to supersede whatever your needs are. So let's say you've got some days saved up for your leave and you want to go on a week-long vacation or whatever. Well, if that time off that you want to have is during a period of time where your unit is doing something crucial, maybe they're doing some kind of extended training where you need to be there, well, your commander is going to deny your leave. Like you're not going to get to go, because the unit's needs are going to be above, they're more important than whatever your needs are. So if you happen to have a loved one in the military, maybe you're watching this video and maybe your significant other or something is in the military and they tell you like, oh, I don't know if I can get time off for this. And you're like, well, what in the world? This is like my college graduation or something. How do you not know if you can get time off yet? And it's because just because it's something important, outside the family, is, college graduation, yeah, that's awesome. It's a birthday party, yeah, that's awesome. But that's not going to be more important than whatever the unit has going on. So if the unit doesn't have anything major going on, then yes, that leave time is more than likely going to get approved, and they're going to be able to go do that college graduation, birthday party, whatever the heck they want to do, travel across the country. But unless it is something really, really important, like a death in your immediate family, so brothers, sisters, parents, or a guardian if they raised you, right? So it's a very tight-knit circle. So if one of them passes away, then you kind of can take that leave time. More than likely, that's going to get accepted unless there's some really important stuff that you're doing on the Army side. Also with childbirth. So if it's your first child being born, so your first baby, right? A lot of times you're gonna get a lot more leeway with that, having it be your first child. But if it's like your third or your fourth child or something, you may not actually even get your time off. If you are stationed somewhere else, if you're going on a certain training cycle for like a couple of weeks or something, you may not get that time off to be there for your kid to be born, because it's like your fourth one. So again, it's got to be some pretty important stuff for your personal life, your personal needs, to supersede what the unit's got going on. So with all that being said, I haven't talked too much about the actual process of submitting your packet for going on leave, but it's not as simple as just, going up to your boss and being like, hey, I'm gonna be off, May 1st to May 7th, and I'm not gonna come into work, so I'd like to take that time off. It's not just as simple as just asking for the time off. You actually have to essentially create a packet. You're going to be basically outlining also like how you're going to get to and from the destination that you're going, the whole purpose of it and everything. If you got any flight receipts, your itinerary, things like that. There's going to be a certain list of things depending on your unit that you're in. You're going to have different standards depending on the unit for like all the different things that you may need to include, but essentially you have to submit that ahead of time. Some units you may have to submit that farther ahead of time than other units, but ultimately you're gonna have to submit that pretty far in advance. Like you're not gonna be going up and be like, hey, I'm gonna submit this packet and I'm going on leave, tomorrow or next week or something. It's just like, hey, a month from now, 2 months from now, whatever, here's the packet for this. And you've got everything laid out, and hopefully nothing comes up in the meantime that is going to supersede your personal needs. But if nothing comes up, then you should hopefully get approved if you've got that accrued time off. So if you're joining the military and you're thinking, okay, I get 2.5 days of leave every month, so every 4 months I'm gonna take 10 days off and I'm just gonna go do whatever, and I'm just gonna do that every 4 months, 10 days off. That's probably not gonna happen. There's gonna be some kinks and stuff thrown in there. It's not gonna be as consistent. You're not gonna be able to, okay, every month I'm gonna take 2.5 days of time off. You're probably not gonna be able to do that. So you're going to have to like maneuver your like holiday schedule, your birthday parties, your things like, important events of the year kind of around what your unit is doing. And then also at the same time, what your unit is doing could also be changing and doing things all the time. So if there's nothing on the schedule for 6 months from now and you want to go on a vacation for 6 months from now, and you submit a packet for that leave, and then something really important comes up, or maybe a training that your unit was going to do gets changed, well, you're kind of just out of luck there. One last thing that I almost forgot to mention is if you are in the Army Reserves or the National Guard, okay? If you're in the Army Reserves or the National Guard and you are drilling monthly, so you're not active guard, you're not active, okay? You're not active reserves, you're not, going to work every day. You're just doing the whole drilling monthly thing. You're not going to accrue time off. You're not going to get that leave. The only time you're going to get that leave is if you go on some training or something where you're getting switched to active status. Then you're going to start accruing that actual time off, that 2.5 days a month. And then also, there's really no point in taking leave in the Army Reserves. You can switch your drill dates around and stuff like that. So there's pretty much no point in taking any leave. So let's say you go to training for 4 months, and so you accrue 10 days of leave. You haven't taken any of that leave. Now you're switching back off of active duty status into reserves or National Guard. Well, what you can actually do is you can sell back those 10 days of leave, and you essentially just get paid 10 days. So that's kind of how that works. That's the last thing I wanted to mention in this video. It's a little bit off the wall. It's a little bit different. It's something that you might not know about if you are in the reserves or guard, because you're going to go through basic and AIT, and all that leave that you're going to build up through all that period of time, you're going to get to sell that back. You may build up, 15 days of leave, and then so once you get done with AIT, you're going to sell that leave back, and you're going to get paid 15 days of base pay. So that is actually it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. That'd be awesome. If you want to stick around some more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. That would be even better. Follow me on Instagram and Snapchat if you haven't already. Hope you guys have an amazing freaking day, and I'll see y'all later.